Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Are you living with a sense of suffering, feeling stuck, silent, and stressed all the time? Then you are in the right place, because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. Today we are going to continue our conversation on the reality check around what it really looks like to have a life of thriving, a life of inner peace and joy. And I was sharing with you yesterday that in a life of thriving, one does experience true inner peace and joy and contentment and fulfillment. And one does so while things are not, quote unquote, perfect. Meaning that challenges are still going to exist in our life. There may even be suffering and pain, if not in my life, in the life of my loved ones, or hey, even anywhere in the world. And as long as there's any suffering anywhere in the world, any pain, any challenge being faced anywhere in the world, I cannot claim that my life is perfect. Because we are all parts of an interconnected, interdependent whole, such that my wellness is directly and indirectly connected with the wellness, with the well-being of every other part of the whole. So really, it's a very, very good thing that things do not have to be perfect in order for me to experience thriving in my life, in order for me to be able to experience and live with genuine inner peace and joy and contentment. Because otherwise, I may be waiting forever. But there does appear, at a surface level, that there may be some kind of a contradiction. So let me give you a more specific example to frame this kind of contradiction, and then we'll get into, okay, why is this contradiction not truly a contradiction? So let's take the example of that we have been reflecting on in the last so many episodes around, is this a world of abundance or is this a world of scarcity? So if this is a world of abundance, you see how it connects to this idea of it'll be easy for everybody to imagine how they can be living a life of inner peace and joy and contentment and happiness. Whereas if it's a world of scarcity, you can imagine that it would be much more difficult, that there would be, that scarcity would result in struggle and suffering. And on the one hand, my heart tells me in no uncertain terms that this is a world of abundance. And my heart is absolutely sure in that knowing. But even as my heart says, this is a world of abundance, and it shows me from its perspective, all the abundance that is existing, my mind can also point to many examples of, hey, there's lack here, there's suffering there, there's pain here. So what's going on? Does that mean that perhaps my heart is right, but my mind is wrong? Or the other way around, where my heart is deluded in thinking this is a world of abundance, and actually my mind is right, and it's pointing out and saying, hey, there's scarcity here and lack there. Well, I mean, look, certainly at one level, it seems like, okay, here's this contradiction. And then you may say, oh, maybe this is like one of those paradoxes. You know, to be honest, I know there are some philosophers who believe that paradoxes are just an inherent part of our world and our universe. But to be quite honest with you, I'm not quite convinced about that. I think a lot of paradoxes are, in fact, not truly paradoxes, in the sense that there are paradoxes, or they only appear to be paradoxes because our perspective on the issue is too narrow. The minute we broaden our perspective, take a bigger picture perspective on what's going on, those paradoxes resolve. And you realize, oh, there was like some missing information that we didn't have, that because of which we couldn't see how those two things that appear to be in contradiction, how they actually connected, how they are connected. And I think that is actually what's going on in this case, when my heart tells me this is a world, a universe of abundance, but my mind sees a lot of scarcity. And here's my perspective on what's going on, what we are missing, the missing connection. The missing connection, I think, is sort of actually so from my perspective, what I see is that there's actually truth in both the perspective of my heart as well as the perspective of my mind. And we need to hear both perspectives, and we need to honor both perspectives, or the truth within both perspectives. So when my mind says, oh look, Samia, here's some pain, and here's some suffering, and there's something lacking, I need to acknowledge that hey, yes, there is something missing here, or this person is experiencing pain, or I just experienced pain in this instance. But then at the same time, as I acknowledge the lack or the pain or suffering that my mind has pointed out, I can also remind myself of my heart's conviction that this is a universe of abundance. So even if I'm experiencing lack or pain or suffering in this particular instance, it's in a particular context. And if I broaden my perspective to see what else is going on, I can begin to take notice of, oh, it's not just about what I don't have. It's also about what I do have. What is present in terms of resources and help and support and solutions or potential solutions. So as I shift from focusing on what I don't have to what I do have, I'm able to shift from honoring the truth as seen by my mind to now also honoring the truth as experienced by my heart. And as I actually make this shift, I begin to realize that, hey, the lack, the pain or the suffering that my mind pointed out, it's not actually a bad thing. The mind is just bringing it to my awareness. And as it brings this challenge to my awareness, the awareness also creates the opportunity for me to engage in a process of growth and change. So the awareness of lack, of suffering, of pain also creates the awareness of opportunity for growth and change, and the motivation for me to engage with that opportunity for growth and change. And that is an excellent thing, isn't it? Because the fact of life is that if we are not growing and changing, then we're dying. If you're not growing and changing, then we're dying. So where there is opportunity for growth and change, there's opportunity to continue to live. So this is actually really exciting. Our heart and mind are not contradicting each other. They are playing complementary roles, and we need them both, to be playing the roles that they're playing. We need our heart to make us aware of all the abundance, and we need our mind to point out to us where the opportunities for growth exist and change exist and improvement exist, so that we can continue to live. Because if we are not growing and changing, we are dying. So in fact, where there are these gaps or these apparent points or spaces within our universe, within our world, within our own personal experience, where there seems to be lack or pain or suffering, we need those gaps. We need awareness of those gaps in order for us to engage fully in the process of life. So this is actually a really exciting thing. Let's get excited about it. I know I'm really excited about it. And I know, like, with every challenge that I face in my life today, there is opportunity for growth and change. And with every challenge, as I overcome it, I grow into a better and stronger person, more connected to the whole. And I think that's amazing. So I'm excited for the challenges that are in my life. I'm excited because of the challenges that are in my life. And I want you to think about what are the challenges in your life and get excited about them. Get excited about the opportunity for growth and change and life that they represent. So think about that, and we will continue connecting tomorrow. Until then, I want to remind you to please go on to iTunes if you haven't already and leave this show a 5-star rating so that other people can also find the show more easily. Until tomorrow, I wish you lots of peace and joy.